In Palacios, Texas, a 400,000-gallon oil spill caused by Titan International has severely damaged the Gulf Stream and a small fishing village nearby. The fishermen can no longer fish because the local fish are now deformed and worthless. This is destroying the town's economy, since fishing is their main source of income. Now out of work, many fishermen try to help by taking their boats out to clean the polluted waters. One of the victims of the spill is Sharkco, a former fisherman. While cleaning, he fell off his boat because a plane sprayed dispersant chemicals, which made him dizzy. His face was hit with chemicals, and now he walks with an oxygen tank and has gone blind in one eye. Half of his face is covered in scars. He got the nickname Sharkco because he used to be one of the best fishermen around, so skilled at catching big fish that people compared him to a white shark. But now, because of his injuries, he can't work anymore. In his free time, Sharkco collects dead animals from the shore that have been killed by the oil. He sends their bodies to Titan International's headquarters using slow mail so that the packages arrive extra smelly. He also spends time at the local dive bar, where fishermen go to have a drink. One afternoon, a fisherman tells a wild story about how his boat was surrounded by a school of mermaids that attacked him. He even has strange scars on his stomach to prove it, but nobody believes him. Sharkco stays out of the conversation until he hears that the fishermen are planning to go back out to sea. He speaks up, saying there won't be any more good catches and that everyone needs to stop lying to themselves. The so-called cleanup is just for show. Titan International sent planes to spray chemicals only to make it seem like they were helping, but it was all for appearances. He says the senator who promised on national radio that they were fixing the problem is lying. That senator is being paid off by Titan International and just wants to look good so he can make his way to the White House. The conversation leaves Sharkco in a terrible mood, so he goes outside to sit in his truck and try to calm down. But he's soon interrupted by Breezy, who asks to borrow Sharkco's boat since he's not using it anymore. Sharkco hasn't forgotten the last time they worked together. Breezy left him waiting for 2 hours, and Sharkco had to find out on his own that Breezy had been arrested. Sharkco refuses to help him again and drives off as Breezy yells at him angrily. When Sharkco gets home, he spends the evening the way he usually does, drinking in front of the television. Sometimes he misses the sea so much that he can't sleep. On those nights, he turns on the radio to hear what the other fishermen are doing out on the water. One broadcast talks about how beautiful it is out at sea, and it upsets Sharkco too much to keep listening. So, he leaves the house. At the shore, Sharkco finds a fish covered in oil and tosses it into his truck. Just as he's about to leave, he hears a strange screeching sound coming from the rocks. Curious, he walks closer to check what's making the noise. To his surprise, it's not an animal, but a mermaid. She's also covered in oil. Sharkco is shocked and a little scared, so he poked her a few times with a tree branch just to make sure she's real and it's safe to approach. Once he's sure the mermaid won't move, Sharkco wraps her body in a tarp and takes her home. It's difficult for him to drag both the mermaid and his oxygen tank, but he doesn't give up and manages to get her inside the house. Then, he fills the bathtub with ice, just like he used to do to keep fish fresh, and places the mermaid in it while listening to the radio again. The other fishermen are reporting some catches, but they're all deformed and useless. This makes Sharkco look at himself in the mirror. He covers his scars with his hand, remembering what it felt like before he was injured, before he felt useless. But now that he has caught a mermaid, he doesn't feel useless anymore. So Sharkco celebrates by playing music and dancing around the house. His celebration is cut short when the phone rings. It's another call from a lawyer offering to help him sue Titan International. Sharkco hangs up right away. He doesn't want to relive all his trauma for money, and no court case will give him his old life back. Later in the evening, while Sharkco is drinking and watching TV, he hears a strange sound coming from the bathroom. When he goes to check, he finds a mermaid alive and angrily trying to get out of the tarp. Sharkco quickly shuts the bathroom door to stop her from escaping and runs to grab his rifle. When he returns and opens the door, the mermaid jumps on him. They fight on the bathroom floor, and she even bites his arm. But Sharkco also brought a fishnet, which he uses to wrap her up again and tie her back to the tub. As he points his rifle at her, Sharkco considers shooting her. But then, he hears a song in his head. It moves him enough to lower the weapon. The next day, Sharkco goes to the supermarket and buys all kinds of meat. When he gets home, he brings a box of Q-tips to the bathroom and uses them to clean the oil from the mermaid's gills, helping her breathe better. Then he offers her all the different meats he bought. She chooses raw beef, so Sharkco cuts a small hole in the net to free her mouth and feeds it to her. Before leaving the bathroom, he tells her he'll be back for supper. Later that evening, while watching TV, Sharkco swears he hears that same song coming from the bathroom again. Feeling bad for the mermaid, he moves the TV into the bathroom so they can watch a show together. Sharkco tells the mermaid all about Bonanza, even quoting entire lines from it. His father loved that show, and American TV in general. It's how he learned to speak English. Eventually, Sharkco falls asleep beside the tub, unaware that the mermaid has been slowly reaching out her hand, trying to touch him. In the middle of the night, a strange noise wakes Sharkco up. When he checks the kitchen, he discovers Breezy has broken into the house and taken the radio. Sharkco threatens to call the police, but this only makes Breezy angrier. Breezy smashes the radio and starts yelling at Sharkco for not letting him borrow the boat. He only stops yelling when he hears a sound coming from the bathroom. Sharkco can't stop Breezy from pushing past him and opening the bathroom door. When Breezy sees the mermaid in the tub, he gets excited. He starts talking about how much money they could make by selling her. But Sharkco explains that he's been waiting for the sea to get clean again so he can return her to it. Breezy doesn't care about that. He just points out that you can't keep a mermaid in a bathtub forever. The next morning, Breezy brings some tools and starts building a big glass tank right in the middle of Sharkco's living room for the mermaid. Breezy takes too many breaks to smoke while building the tank, and Sharkco reminds him about the importance of taking pride in your work, a lesson his father taught him. In return, Breezy shows the scars on his body, made by his own father using cigarettes. Then Breezy starts talking about how he wants to prove his worth by showing off the mermaid, but Sharkco stops him. He reminds Breezy that no one can know about her because they'll take her away. To keep him quiet, Sharkco tells Breezy that they can be captain and deckhand again, just like the old days. Breezy is unsure after being rejected before, but Sharkco explains that he was always hard on him as a boss because he treated him like a son. That's how his own father raised him. Sharkco tells Breezy that he does care about him, and Breezy believes him, happy to feel like he finally has a father figure in his life. Once the tank is finished and Breezy leaves, Sharkco fills it with water and places the mermaid inside. She looks joyful to be able to swim again. That evening, Sharkco makes dinner for both of them. He tries to make it romantic, setting up flowers and music because he's grown very fond of the mermaid. After tossing her a raw steak, Sharkco sits in front of the tank to eat his own meal and talk to her. He tells the mermaid about his dad, who loved everything American, like Sinatra. His father had a hard time finding work in Texas because people didn't want to hire immigrants. When Sharkco was a boy, he watched his father scare off the Klan with a rifle after they came to threaten their home. Since the oil accident, life has been tough for Sharkco, and losing his job felt like losing everything his father built for them. As Sharkco talks, he starts hearing a distant song. He also sees flashes of a strange woman in his mind. Then there's a knock at the door. When Sharkco opens it, the woman from his vision is standing there. She walks inside and touches the empty tank, confirming Sharkco's suspicion. She is actually the mermaid. She tells him she has a message from the sea. Everyone in the ocean is thankful that Sharkco rescued her and that he understands the horrors of the oil. The mermaid tells Sharkco that he is one of them now. To thank him, she touches his face and heals his injuries, then kisses him. With new energy, Sharkco spends the night dancing with the mermaid to Sinatra's music. They also get intimate on the couch. Sharkco removes his shirt to show his muscles, which have come back, and tells her stories from his old fishing days. He calls himself the king of the ocean, not just an immigrant's son anymore. As they rest and talk, Sharkco opens up and says he used to wish he had drowned when he fell off the boat. But now he doesn't feel that way, because he has someone who loves him. Hours later, Sharkco notices cars parking outside his house. He tells the mermaid to stay in the tank and goes outside to check. When Sharkco steps outside, he looks like his old, scarred self again, revealing that everything over the last few hours has been a hallucination. The cars belong to the fishermen. They've come because Breezy told them about the mermaid. They admit Sharkco had been right about the sea. There's nothing left to catch. Now, they want him to share the mermaid, so they can sell her and use the money to feed their families. Sharkco says no, but they don't back off. So, he grabs his rifle and fires a warning shot at the ground. He calls himself the king of the ocean again and says the next bullets will be for them. That finally scares them off. Sharkco returns inside. The mermaid is swimming in the tank, and he knows the hallucination is still happening. He can hear her voice in his head, sounding worried. Sharkco promises that nothing will ever separate them again. He tells the mermaid it's time to go for a swim in the sea. He brings a ladder in front of the tank, imagining that they're at the beach, ready to jump into the ocean together. In reality, he climbs the ladder and jumps into the tank, letting the mermaid finally catch him and feed on his body.